Welcome back to installment 3, using the different reports as icebreakers in your team meetings. This particular report is called the Summary Statistics. It provides you with a rank order of how the strengths show up on your team, from the highest number of strengths to the lowest number of strengths. In the app, there are several columns that you can toggle. You can toggle the team percentage, you can toggle the team members, you can toggle the US percentage to see it. But when you print it out, this is the format that I printed, and it's the default report that rank orders from most common to least common. So just as a reminder, our goal is to make this simple and easy. You don't have to be an expert on the strengths or any of the analytics. We're taking what we call an inductive approach, a Socratic approach. You get the group to unpack it together. And the questions are very simple. What stands out? And you can go through the different columns. On the far left-hand column, when you have all the strengths in the colors, you want to ask what stands out, what seems to be missing. And the other main area to direct people to is looking at the difference between the team percentage and the US percentage. When I ask you the question, what stands out, you can go right down the top 5 strengths. The strategic stands out because it's more than double the US percentage. And because of that, you want to unpack what that means and ask the people in the room, how many of you have strategic? And then let them share with you how they make decisions. And strategics typically make quick, high-level decisions. They cut through the clutter. And then right underneath it, WOO, winning others over, is almost 3 times the national average. The red or motivating strengths are less common in that top 5. So again, this tells you a little bit about the group, that they make quick decisions, that they build rapport nicely. And then right underneath it is communication, and that's almost 3 times the national average. So now you can start looking at combinations of strengths. You can ask, so the combination of being friendly, winning others over, and then communication, how might that look in the group? So one of the things you're driving for is that these behaviors are already in the group dynamic, but operate in default mode and are invisible. Now you're surfacing it and looking at, how does this look when we're at our best? Achiever is number 4, and it is one of the more common strengths, so that's right at the national average. Futuristic appears in that top cluster of strengths. When you're working and asking questions, you can find out when we're at our best, what does it feel like? What does it look like? How do we link these with the strengths? And then you can move into, how can these get in our way? One of the handy resources is to have our summary of the description of all 34 strengths. Now you can ask the group or break them into smaller groups and say, if we were going to take the top 5 strengths, how would we name this team? Now, I personally like to use sports metaphors. That's my background. I identify with that. And a lot of people do, but not everybody. So you might describe it that, hey, the locker room's going to be a lot of fun here. Or our team has high aspirations and high drive, the high aspirations from the strategic and the futuristic, the high drive from the achiever. There's no right or wrong. The goal is to get the group to synthesize and to visualize what this might look like in another context, and it makes it more real when you do that. As the team is unpacking this, you want to look at, where are some of the blind spots that we have, the strengths that we either have very few compared to the US percentage, or none at all. When you look at this from my perspective, having seen thousands of these, one thing that's interesting is that there's only one strength in all 34 that no one represents. That's very rare when I look at a team. And so now, as we're summarizing this, we've seen where the strengths are. We talk about, how do we play to our strengths? What does it look like? We look at how our strengths might get in the way. We look at the gaps, and then there's a final question to ask. Is there anyone on the team where your top 5 don't even show up in our top 5 as a group? The reason that's a great question is that they're an outlier that provides great value and balance to the team. And because of that strong group dynamic at the top, the team will be less aware of the other strengths. So if someone has all of their strengths outside that energy zone, they may be overlooked and they may feel on the outside. And we've had examples of people saying, now I know I don't belong on the team, which is a great conversation for the team to come back and see and appreciate the value they bring. That manager can be more aware and pull that talent up into the group dynamic. I hope you can see that this report provides several rich conversations. Used as icebreakers, you can break these up and keep this conversation going over several weeks. Our goal is to make these reports usable, because if you're not using it regularly, you're not getting the benefit. And that's the key distinction between Genius Spark and the other systems. We're not giving you a lot of content that you have to memorize and master. We're giving you tools that provide insight and great group conversations so that the group can gel together. The value is not in the report. It's in the conversations that the team engages in. It's the conversations where they get to know each other and they fine-tune their dynamic together. I'd love to hear any questions that you may have added that generate great conversations on your team. And of course, if you have any questions for us, please reach out. Take care.